Berry Bark Pages presents Ketchup Bottle, written by Wild Orchid. There's a mysterious booth in the restaurant called Ketchup. When someone sits there and touches the ketchup bottle, they get flashbacks of when their lives were happier. This only happens in the month of June. In 1913, there was a well-known family with the surname Ketchup that happened to own a restaurant called Ketchup. Since burgers were just becoming popular, so many people were curious about the place. Once most people tasted the burger, it became one of the most popular places to eat in River, New York. The owners have been there for years, known for their happy and upbeat personalities. At first, it was only the mom and pop place who had a chef son named Henry when it first opened. He even met the love of his life, Elizabeth, at the restaurant when she was a waitress for the first month. It was basically love at first sight for both of them. Before you knew it, they were married and had 5 children, 3 boys and 2 girls. Elizabeth was the new face and the delight of the place. Everyone called her Liz because they felt they had found a friend in her. Time passed, the children got older, started working at the family restaurant, doing everything from cooking, waitressing, to hostessing. Perfect strangers turned into family there. Whenever tourists or new people came into the city, everyone would rave about the Ketchup family and the restaurant. Of course, nothing lasts forever. On a hot June summer day in River, New York, tragedy struck. There was a massive kitchen fire. It got out of control so quickly, it took out the kitchen, then the counters. The whole place was packed with people. Everyone was scrambling to get out. People were stepping on one another. It was a horrifying view. The fire dominated even though people were trying to take it out. There was nothing left once the fire was stopped. The Ketchup restaurant was destroyed. Luckily, only a few injuries occurred. In the midst of all the smoke and fire, there was only one booth that was left standing. The Ketchup family was not able to rebuild. They tried several times to rebuild, but it was always obstacle after obstacle coming up, which made it impossible to finish the restaurant. There were rumors that the family was tearing each other apart from the inside out. The father no longer cared about anything and isolated himself. The mother was not able to keep it together. She was found drifting in her path of destruction. The children no longer had guidance or money for college, so they gave up on life as well. No one knows whatever happened to the family to this day. They were gone. No trace of them at their home, no word of them in a nearby city. They were just gone. Never seen again, not one single member. There's been so many rumors of what happened, but no evidence. Now, they're just a story that people have talked about in the city. Finally, about 20 years later, a new owner built a new restaurant. It was an Italian restaurant. It lasted about 5 years. It was thriving for a while, but eventually it faded away. Ever since then, over the years, many different restaurants have opened up in the same place. However, nothing like it was when Ketchup's family was running it. That is until 2013, a new restaurant came in, and it was a burger place. That was the first time the restaurant had turned into a burger place since the Ketchup family owned it. The place was the talk of the city. It was thriving. It became so popular. It was a place to eat whenever you were in River, New York. River had never seen a burger place thrive in so long. The funny part of this remarkable comeback is that it was owned by a family as well. It was a married couple with 5 children. And you guessed it, they had 3 boys and 2 girls. Their family name and restaurant was called Anise, which means spice. However, no one really thought much about it. There were some of the locals who would occasionally bring up Ketchup from stories that they heard within their own families or rumors that stayed with the city, but nothing anyone really took seriously. Meanwhile, Anise was thriving. All the children worked there. The husband was the chef. The children were waitresses and waiters, cooks and hosts. They were the talk of River. Everyone would always be hanging there. The mother was the delight of the new place. Her name was Emma, but everyone called her Em because they felt as if they found a friend in her. There was a booth in the corner that was a bit more private. That's where some loners who preferred to eat in that area. They enjoyed the food but didn't really want to be social. There was even a running joke that it was where unalive people would go and eat. If you were happy, you would stay away from the area. It was all just rumors, something some people talked about. It was really sad that the ones who ate there were so miserable. They were just sad. They looked like they were just existing, not enjoying life at all. Until one day, a gentleman sat there, and when he got up from the booth, he was a different person. He had a new lease on life. He was happy. It was the strangest thing. He was seen in the neighborhood and always saying hello to people, being cheerful. He was even thriving. He started to bring his family into the restaurant. They were laughing, having a great time, and socializing with different people at the restaurant. No one could explain why he was just, new outlook. There were different types of whispers, nothing people really cared about. They were just all having a great time with him and his family. Until one day, it happened again. This time it was a woman. Her husband had left her and her 2 children. She had no job, no way of supporting the children. The community would help out. Even the restaurant, Anise, used the same depressing booth to feed her and her 2 children. But one day, she had a new perspective. She started her own business. She soon became the best seamstress in the city. She was able to afford to live a glamorous life. No one could explain it. Honestly, no one cared. The city was happy that she was on her feet and thriving on her own. She just said she was tired of feeling sorry for herself, not wanting to wait for her husband to come back. She took it upon herself to get up and make the destiny of her own life. After that, throughout the years, there were several people that would experience the same outcome about their life. But people started noticing it only happened in June, which was the most bizarre thing ever. But in all honesty, no one ever really cared enough to give it a second thought. That is until one day in late June, this traveling salesman came to the restaurant, was bitter and didn't want to be social because he frankly was miserable. He hated his job, his life, just everything he came across. He sat at the famous miserable booth and ordered. He told the waitress he didn't want to be disturbed. He started eating his food and was just mumbling underneath his breath, hating the world. The last thing he said before grabbing the ketchup bottle was, "Damn it, I ordered it with burger with ketchup." He grabbed the bottle and then it happened. He was taken back to when he was happy in life. He had a steady job, working at a newspaper company. He would go to work and have such creative ideas. He was thriving. He was always chipper and smiling. He would always get up in the morning with the most positive outcome on life. He had a wife, 2 sons he couldn't wait to spend time with. But he was shown why he was so miserable now. He was making okay money. The family was happy they were doing okay. Nothing fancy. Just everyday family that was just loving life. Well, it showed him talking to a coworker at the newspaper company. His coworker couldn't stop talking about how he was leaving the newspaper company to become a traveling salesman to make a lot more money. He kept bragging how he was going to be able to buy a bigger and better house, maybe even take some family trips. He kept going on and on about it. He even told the man, "Oh well, you'll still be in the same position when I wave to you for my new sports car." So, he did the biggest mistake of his life. He quit the newspaper company, went with his coworker, and his life has been miserable ever since. The man jumped out the booth and just said, "I quit being a traveling salesman." The whole restaurant looked at him with confusion. The man didn't care. He left the restaurant running out yelling, "Mistakes can change your life!" No one really cared in the restaurant what the stranger was saying, until 5 months later. They saw his picture in the newspaper as the new editor-in-chief. It had an image of him, his wife, and his 2 sons smiling and looking happier than ever. Underneath the image, the stranger had explained what happened to him at River, New York restaurant Anise, at the private, lonely booth that day. The people in the city were shocked and didn't really believe what the stranger had experienced. People in the city just make up rumors about it. Many stay away from the area. They think it's haunted. Some people think it's just a bizarre coincidence. But what really happens in June in River, New York, and Anise? What choice have you made that has changed your life?